fans, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Turnipole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the University of Cincinnati Bearcats. Sorry, just get some stuff done there real quick. I had to send a different link to Tim, and he asked me to do that right before the show started. So I was in the mood of doing that. Anyway, what's up? Like I said, I'm Jeff, Sports Strawberries. I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave. The Ice Cave is always brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And you know what? We got the best quarterback in the league. His name is Joe Burrow. If you want the Jackpot Joey stuff, go right there to jackpotjoey9.com. If you want any of the delicious award-winning beers from Brink, it's a Jackpot Joey beer. It's award-winning and delicious. It's at Brink Brewery. Portion of the proceeds go to the Joe Burrow Foundation. So what's up to everybody who's watching me live? We are live on multiple things here. I'm live on ztv.com, ZTV Online. Now, do me a favor. If you guys haven't checked out ZTV, make sure you do, because we got a really cool giveaway coming at you soon. We're going to be giving away a Bearcat package with tickets, maybe a shirt, maybe a hat, a couple things. So make sure you guys are checking that out and check it out when I tweet it out to make sure you subscribe. But we're live there. We're live on YouTube. I got 2,459 subscribers. We're on Facebook live there. We're live on Rumble, and we're live on Twitter X. So shout out to everybody watching. If you guys could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please tell everybody about Sports Strawberries. I would greatly appreciate it. What is up to everybody in the chat? Strangers in there first. Hooday, what's going on? My boy Joey Carr. Speaking of ZTV, there he is. And we got Lawrence in there. What is up? Go Cats, exactly. And Kevin, what is up, everybody? All right, like I said, we got the first Big 12 matchup for the University of Cincinnati. Of course, it's at 10 o'clock at night. At least on a Saturday night. So for people who don't know, I work nights at UPS. So during the week, it's hard for me to stay up, and I work Tuesday through Saturday. So luckily, I work Saturday or Friday night into Saturday morning, so I can take a nap and I can stay up and watch the game. But it'd be nice if the first Big 12 matchup would be, I don't know, around 7 o'clock Cincinnati time. But anyway, big matchup. I'm very curious to see how the Bearcats will do in their first Big 12 matchup. And Big 12 in general, because, I mean, let's be honest, this is the best basketball conference in the country, I think. And it's going to get nothing but better next year when all the other teams come in. So it's going to be a big test. I hope they don't do what the football team did, which that's where I'm scared because they literally haven't really played anybody. And the two teams that they actually played that were good, Xavier, which, I know I hate to admit that, but anyway, they're kind of good. Tim Daniel just made him happy. But yeah, we lost to them, and we lost to Dayton pretty handily both times. So that's where I'm worried going into the best conference of basketball of how we're going to handle this, how Wes Miller is going to handle this. We got the players. I think the talent is there. I don't think the scheme and all that stuff has come together yet. Anyway, let's get to my first guest of the day. He just jumped in. He was taking care of his very young child. He's Tim Daniels. He's from the Riverfront. What is up, Tim? What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. I'm glad you got everything squared away.
Yeah, it took forever, but yeah, we're there.
I literally hit live, and then I looked at my phone. I'm like, "You're like, can you email me here?" I'm like, "Oh crap!" I'm like, all right. So I'm trying to email it to you while I'm talking.
I've been there. I know how it goes. Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get to one of your partners in crime. He's on the show a lot. Some people think he's like my co-host now or something because, well, I don't have a lot of friends, and Joe doesn't have life, so he comes on my show a lot. Let's get to Joe Farsing. Joe, what's up, brother?
Are you insinuating that we're friends?
I've been known to insinuate that from time to time.
I mean, I've got 2 of my 3 friends in all the world here on screen, so I mean, that's I feel popular.
I think he's talking about us, Tim. I think he's talking about us.
Well, I consider you a friend, Tim, only because of lack of alternatives. So, guys, how are we doing?
Good, man. Good. Enjoying a Friday here. You guys ready for the weekend? Got any big plans or anything?
Nope.
Bearing down for the White Death coming tomorrow, and got my little girl's basketball game tomorrow morning. So
the White Death, that's going to be like in maybe an inch, and then it's going to freaking melt. And I'm sure all the bread and milk and everything is already going off the shelves if you went to your local grocery store here.
Exactly.
So if anybody's wondering, I started the show live earlier today at 4:00 because today is my 27th anniversary. My wife has put up with me for 27 years, so I decided to do the show earlier so we can go out to eat. So that's why the show's here earlier. So Tim, you actually are the credentialed guy, I think, for the Riverfront is for college basketball.
One of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went back with my old network. I got us credentialed. I've covered Xavier, Cincinnati, and Northern Kentucky for about 7-8 years.
So, what's your thoughts on the Bearcats and going into the first Big 12 matchup? Because honestly, Tim, I'm a little nervous. Guys, we haven't played anybody. Like I said in the monologue, we haven't played anybody. The first two teams that we did play with Xavier, which dude, I don't know what the hell it is. Xavier could shoot the ball out their ass against UC and it goes in, it seems like. Besides that, and UC can't hit the broadside of a barn when we play Xavier. But anyway, besides that, BYU is a pretty good three-point shooting team. And
they're pretty great.
Yeah, they're pretty good at that. And our defense is kind of been a hit or miss. What's your insight of how the Bearcats season has gone and maybe how this Big 12 season might go for the Bearcats?
I think they're about what you should expect them to be at this point. So, the two losses, obviously, I know one of them really hurts a little bit more than the other. And for obvious reasons, because you thought this was the year you could finally break the curse.
We should have, damn it! God, sorry.
I was there. There was no chance you guys were winning that night. Trust me.
That's the way we were shooting. Like
Oliveri took over.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
he was just unbelievable.
Yeah, and he could have been a Bearcat.
It was the greatest game of his life.
I don't know. He's been pretty awesome for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, we cured him. You're welcome.
He struggled 2 days ago, and they still hung tight with Villanova, so that was impressive.
So they were pretty close to beating them. But this is a Cincinnati conversation. I won't put that on
don't worry. I know you're going to come on and talk shit. I know. It's okay.
No, I'm not. Why do people think I do? Like, the only way that I talk shit is if people talk shit to me. So
Tim is very fair. Having a lot of conversations, Xavier UC, he's very fair, and he's very knowledgeable about UC, considering he doesn't cover them. He covers, crosstown team. So
I had a great time on the Bearcats beat. I have a lot of friends over there still. I had a lot of fun. I love Fifth Third Arena. It's an awesome place to see a game. So my ill will is not towards you two withstanding. The fan base is what kind of drives me the craziest, but we'll get to that another day. As far as what you think about where this team should be, I feel like they're pretty good, honestly. I think that if you look at what happened, the talent level certainly there. I think they're still putting it all together. There's some decisions Wes makes that kind of really make me scratch my head as far as like rotation stuff. And this is a knock on him. I really like Wes.
I do too.
I think Wes is a really good coach. But so talk about Crosstown. There's like so many stretches where Jizzle James is like their best player.
And then he sits him.
Yeah, and it's like I don't have an issue with Day Thomas by any stretch of the matter. I just think that Jizzle's a bit of a better player, and that could just be kind of him kind of putting his stuff together. As far as a game like this, when you got to play a team like BYU, I think what's really interesting about this BYU team, you mentioned how good they are as a 3-point shooting team, and they certainly are.
Right.
They're older. They have 6 guys who score in double digits, and 5 of those guys are juniors and seniors. Mm-hmm. They just stretch the floor out. They're so dynamic. Mark Pope has really become a really, really good coach. Mm-hmm. I have so much respect for him, and I'm not a Kentucky fan saying that. So, I have a ton of respect for what he's been able to do there. I think what he's shown that he's going to have more opportunities to get the bigger jobs in the future with what he's doing at BYU. So this is a scary game. Realistically, I'm not saying this as a bad anti-UC thing. Like, this is a tough team to go on the road and play. The spread came out. It's 11-point spread for BYU. That's a pretty deep spread in a Division I college basketball game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
But I think that they're going to come out of this game better no matter what happens. I think that as they get ready for these huge games coming up, this is kind of your first time dipping your feet in the water, right? This is kind of maybe not ideally the first team you play in that circumstance, but
not 10 o'clock at night.
Right. Definitely not 10 o'clock at night. But I think that you mentioned kind of their defense been on and off the past couple of weeks since basically since Crosstown. Mm-hmm. Maybe since Howard. You could probably make the case.
Howard was that was kind of up and down game too, yeah.
But I think this UC team's good enough. I think that in the conference they're in, if they can string, a couple wins together and make that RPI look solid, I think they have a shot to be a tournament team. I don't have any issue saying that. And all the people that think I hate UC athletics so much, like, no, I don't. I was there. I was the one guy in all 3 media rooms in the area. Let's just go ahead and put that out there before I get this shit from these like Barstool people. All right.
So Joe, what were you were reading something about the RPI or something for the Big 12? What were we right for?
It's the scheduled strength remaining out of 332 Division I college basketball teams. The 14 strongest schedule of strength remaining are the 14 teams in the Big 12. So it's every team in the Big 12. And then the other 208 or the other 318 schools follow behind them in terms of schedule of strength remaining. Now, granted, that's right. Things are going to change. Everyone, a lot of teams, even as great as BYU's look, they played, I think, an even weaker schedule than the Bearcats have thus far. But I'm not concerned about tomorrow night because I think BYU is going to cover. UC still doesn't know their offensive identity. I don't think they're ever going to be at full strength. CJ Frederick's completely shut down right now with his hamstring injury. Bandego is struggling with a back injury. Simas Lukosius was playing Frogger and has struggled since he got clipped trying to cross the street, wherever that was.
Like the most underrated transfer get in the country. I thought, like, when they got him, I was like, oh shit, they're gonna be able to shoot now.
Yeah, he's. I mean, when he's playing well, he looks fantastic, and I think I think he's completely back from getting hit by the car. But again, you're playing with, I don't want to say spare parts because you have by and large your full roster. Nobody's out for the season, but you're not going to have that full roster that you thought you were going to have when everyone finally got cleared after Bandego got cleared and after Jamil Reynolds finally got cleared.
The season is we've had guys coming in, then going out, they're going in. We haven't been able to, and it's a new team anyway with all the new transfers and everything. Yeah. So they haven't had enough games, and I think that's why Wes had this cupcake schedule at the beginning, thinking he'll have everybody give a chance to gel and stuff, and that hasn't happened yet because of the injuries, guys not being eligible, and all that stuff.
That was, I know a lot of people knocked them for the teams they played during that stretch. That was a boss way to put a schedule together. The farthest you travel for, besides, other than the Howard game, is to Norwood. Like, yeah. that was baller. You got to give props
for a beat writer. I'm pretty sure they all.
Oh yeah. They were like Ryan Roberts, our guy that covers the Bearcats for us, was very pleased he did not have to do too much traveling to cover the games this year.
I bet he was. Did you have any more you want to say there, Joe, or were you?
No, I mean, just looking at BYU's strengths. I mean, they're the third rated, or the offensive rating, they're number 1 out of 362. Defensive rating, they're third out of 362.
Yeah, they're a title contender.
Yeah, I mean, they're number 2 in net ranking, but only behind Houston, who's in the Big 12 as well.
I hate Houston.
It's a meat grinder, man. I know UC was listed as either first 4 out or next 4 out on Lonardi's last.
Don't even bother looking at that.
Well, that's a bit early for that already.
Not even that. He's just never, like, if you look at like bracketology experts, he's always in the bottom tier as far as like the accuracy.
Right. But he's on ESPN. I mean, come on. He's got to be like smarter than everybody else, right?
He's the loudest voice, we'll say.
Right. He wrote a book.
Yeah. But I mean, he still obviously knows his stuff. Regardless whether he's the most accurate or not. But I think UC's an NIT team just because anytime you look out on the court, there are 4 out of the 5 players didn't play a minute together last year, and again, with guys coming in and out of the lineup with injuries, nagging injuries, and stuff like that, it's going to be hard for them to try to get some sort of cohesion to try to figure out who they want to be. When Frederick's healthy, they can be a perimeter-oriented team, but then they also have several bigs that sometimes they'll try to keep dumping it down to lock in or having him in the high post, passing it down to Bandego or Reynolds. They don't know what they want to do. I don't know what they're good at.
I am the number 1 advocate of high-low offense, just so we're clear.
I am too, but you can't do it when you're 2 feet from the basket. That's what Lockett kept doing a couple times. He shoot the damn ball. He could have dunked it, and he's dumping off to Bandego. It's like, shoot it. I understand if you're at the top of the key or the free throw line, yes. But if you're here and the hoop is here and your other teammate is here, shoot the damn ball. I've seen him do that way too many times. he's the most frustrating guy for me because he's so soft around the rim. It's like I had Terry Nelson on here before, and he's trying to get him to tell him to go up there and dunk the ball, rip the freaking rim off the backboard, and
shout out Terry, that's my guy.
Hey, Terry, that's my dude. Hey, he's the first guy who ever came on my show, so I always appreciate my boy Terry. But yeah, that's one thing I find irritating with Lockton is his lack of aggressiveness, and I mean I think that's with a lot of big guys. Now, the guy we just got from the Temple transfer, why can't
Jameel Reynolds?
Yeah, now he dunks everything.
He tries to reach from the foul line and like trying to throw it like it's dude. You're too far away, man.
I don't care. He's a little bit too aggressive. Needs somewhere in between those two. But what's your Tim? I'll go with you. What's your thoughts on Lockton and how he's developed? Because when he first came here, I thought he could be potentially maybe. Well, you looked if he developed right, he could be an NBA guy, overseas. He could be an overseas guy, obviously, but NBA guy maybe. But I don't think so now. But what's your thoughts on him?
I think he's a pro player. I don't think that beats the NBA. That's such a hard thing. You got to understand. Like when people, I've heard this before, and I'm not dogging your opinion.
No, like I said, this is when I first saw it 3 years ago or whatever.
Do people like? There are 400 guys that play in the NBA. Across 30 teams. Mm-hmm. That is cracking that like capability to be that special is very, very difficult. And that's not a disrespect to him at all. I think he's a very skilled player. I think his improvement has been awesome. Ryan, not to mention him again, but he had Joey Burton on the at-large Bearcats recently with us and had Joey on who talked about training with Victor and getting him ready. And the 3-point shooting stretching the floor has been so impressive. Right. But I'm with you. I thought this for years, and I think when it comes to that game, it's always like the guy that's playing on the other side is more physical than him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of been a thing that's really cost him for a couple of years. Jack Nungy obviously was the big one the last couple of years. Yeah. Zach Fremantle has had some moments against him. So I think that's kind of been the thing with him. And I think he's as skilled gets. I think he's a guy who, maybe not NBA, but has the upside to play in the G League. And that's not a bad gig anymore. Oh. I think he'll be on a summer league team at least to get a shot to be looked at by NBA teams.
What's your thoughts on Ben Dago? Is he? I mean, he's the first real shot blocker I've seen for the Bearcats in God knows how long. Down a little, maybe.
His 2 years he was there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
happened.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
The incidents, shall we say?
Yeah. Oh man, that could be a podcast in and of itself.
Stories.
I like him. I think that his wingspan's really impressive, and I saw that. So the first time I saw him in person this year was Crosstown. Mm-hmm. So when I walked out on the floor and I saw him in the layup line, I went, "Oh crap, he's huge." Xavier doesn't have anyone that can match with that guy. And
that's what I thought too.
For some reason, Abu Usman was like, "Hold my beer." Yeah. And, he's a shot blocking machine. You saw that last year. I watched the game last year, obviously, when they beat Cincinnati. And you could see why West wanted him so bad. Mm-hmm. Certainly skilled. I think his offensive thing was something I did not expect. Mm-hmm. He's pretty good offensive, far better offensive than I thought he would be. Yeah. But I think it's kind of that's the same thing. Where when I talk about like these guys, I don't know if UC necessarily has an NBA player on their team, but they have a lot of pros.
Joe, what's your thoughts on what we're just talking about? I can't think of his name.
Bandago, Lockton, both of them. They're both soft. I think if this were AAC, if they're playing the AAC, I think that they'd be impact players and would be able to kind of carry them through. Lockton, when he has to play in the post, which I wish they'd stop having him play in the post again. Keep him in the high post, let him play around the perimeter, let him shoot. He's not a great ball handler, but he can handle it well enough to dump it down. When he's around the basket, he gets absolutely pushed around. Bandago, some games he looks like he's an absolute defensive presence. I mean, he looks like he's Dikembe Mutombo out there. Right. And other games, it looks like he's God, I'm trying to think. Biggie McLean,
Hashim Thabit.
What's that?
Hashim Thabit.
Yeah, just a random tall string bean that's kind of just wandered around aimless. I mean, the paint is open far too often when he's on the. It's like he overcommits or loses track of where he's supposed to be. But it's it's some interesting. We'll put it that way. I'm not going to say that I'm disappointed. Because these are guys coming from, Benego's a second-time neither of the schools he transferred from were big-time schools. I mean, Mac and what's Utah Valley State? Are they whack?
I didn't even heard of them till last year, to be honest.
Same.
Yeah, I think they're
and having to step up, and again, UC hasn't played a tough schedule. UC's non-conference schedule outside of the local teams have been pretty soft. And if he's going to push around against those guys, once he starts to bang against guys in the Big 12, he's got back issues right now that's kept him out. So, how much availability is he even going to have? We'll see.
Exactly. All right, so we're about to go 4 wide here. We tweeted out we're talking Bearcats today, and my boy Coach Cam's like, "Hey, I want to talk Bearcat basketball." So like, all right, I sent him a link, and he jumped on here. So let's bring on Coach Cam. Cam, what's going on, brother?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Good.
How we doing?
We
good,
are
good. Just to let you know, man, this ain't Xavier. This is Saint Xavier. I'm just letting you know, I'm making that clear right now.
It's like you work for him or something like that?
Right now, coach basketball there. We're having a good season so far, 6-2. So
I'm cool with that. My dad went to St. X, so I'm cool. Well, of course, he went to Xavier too, so I'm half and half.
Got you.
So you're a crossbreed, Joe. Is what you're trying to say? Crossbreed,
half-breed. I'm just not inbred. That's all there is to it.
That's from Kentucky. Anyway,
watch that. Watch that now.
I just lost half my viewership. Everyone from Kentucky just dropped me. Anyway, my sister lives in Kentucky. I give her crap about it all the time. All right, Cam. So I'll bring it to see what we're talking about here. We got UC in the first Big 12 matchup against BYU. What's your thoughts on how the Bearcats season has gone, and how confident are you of them going to BYU and actually getting their first Big 12 victory?
What the season's gone so far, man, as far as what I've seen, they've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat, which is always a good thing because there are several teams that drop by games and you kind of scratch your head at those. So I don't, especially with the way portal's set up and everything, I feel like every team has a few good players now. So
right.
So I am happy that we won the games we were supposed to win. Just a little bit disappointing that we didn't either get Xavier or Dayton, because I think that would have really helped us going into the conference play, far as statistically, far as where you're at, far as like on the bubble or that type of thing.
Right.
Now going into the Big 12, in the Big 12 play, there's a little concern because, a lot of these guys, that have played, for UC, I don't know how many of them played in front of 20,000 people on the road.
Right.
Yeah, because it's levels to these Big 12 road games. So I'm just anxious to see how they handle it. Are they going to come out prepared and ready? Are they going to come out a little, I'm not going to say scared, but a little bit, tight? It's going to be interesting to see. I just know that they can't get off to the starts that they have these last couple games. Because if so, BYU shoots the ball very well. They're very efficient offensively. And you can catch yourself down a nice amount of points very quickly if you start off slow like they have been. So I want to see coming into this game is quick start. And a quick start don't necessarily mean they have to be up 10-4. But, maybe after the first time out, 16-minute whistle, the score is 8-8. The score is 10-8. Somewhere where they feel some confidence, like, okay, we're in this game. Right. All right, let's settle down. Let's play ball. So I'm anxious to see the first 4 minutes of the game coming out of the Big 12 in Big 12 play when they're in BYU.
That's a good point that you made. I like that. Is to see how they come out, see if they look ready. And that's one thing. And like I said, I said this on this show earlier that I like Wes Miller. I do think he's a good coach, but it seems like, and I'll run this around with everybody. You can give me your opinions about this too. But Wes, I don't know a big game that Wes Miller has won for the Bearcats. There hasn't been a lot. He hasn't beaten Xavier yet. There's been other big games. We lost to Houston multiple times. It just seems like, I don't know if I'm not saying it's a coaching thing. It might be talent, because there was a big dumpster fire he got handed when he got here. But I haven't seen that marquee win for Wes Miller yet. Is it a thing that it's just circumstance, or like Cam said, sometimes it just seems like the Bearcats just aren't ready. And it could be talent-wise. It could not be. I don't know. I'll go around the horn. Go start with you, Tim. What do you think?
I mean, the Illinois game was really nice this first year. You're just kind of hoping you can kind of build off that. The next, the next night they have Arkansas on the ropes, and play them really well. But you have been looking for that big feel-good win, and I get that. I just, it's going to be really hard to get in this situation, especially the next couple of weeks when you have BYU, Texas, and Baylor lined up back to back. But
right.
As far as, you mentioned Wes, and I talked about this before, they're 2-16 in quad one games since he's taken over. That's kind
ideal. That's kind of my point there.
I do think as he gets more talent in, obviously that's going to change a little bit more. You look at, they had a really good recruiting class last year. You got to feel really good about the recruiting class they have coming in next year. I think McKinley's incredible. I think that kid has NBA upside. I really do.
Yeah.
I think he has, he has all the talent in the world. I think that's going to take things a little easier for them. But I think too, the one thing that's really underrated about him is the Chad Dollars of his staff. Keeping those guys around too, they're going to help them a lot as they keep this going. But yeah, I think it's just, you mentioned obviously the Brandon fiasco was really tough to kind of dig yourself out of a hole. Wes is pretty intense. Wes is a guy that wants to win. He's ultra competitive. He's won national championships as a player. Well, been a part of teams that have won national championships as a player, I should say.
Right.
So I do think he's going to do everything he can to win these games. I don't know if it's a coaching thing exactly. I just think it's,
it might be more just talent. I mean,
let's be realistic. This isn't 1992. Like this isn't, they're the number 1, 2, 3, 4 team in the country anymore.
Right.
And it's trying to bring them back to that level, especially going to the conference they're in now.
Yeah. And like I said, this is not Wes Miller hate. I really like Wes Miller. I think he is a good coach. This is the realistic concerns about that I have. Go ahead, Joe. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I pretty much have to agree with you. I mean, again, they're 2-16 in quad one games, and I don't know how to compare this to when they jumped up to the Big East when they were in Conference USA.
Well, that was another dumpster fire that they had to. Every time we've come from a lower level conference and went to a big one, we've had a dumpster fire. Like they fired Huggins and Nancy Ziffer and all that crap happened. So it took us forever to start being good in the Big East. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so I don't know how to. I don't really know how to compare and contrast. I think I like Wes Miller as a coach better than Mick Cronin. But that's also because I like offense, and watching Mick Cronin coach offensive teams like watching paint dry. Just the slowest, worst.
Dude wins.
The ball up. Yeah, he wins, but it is not well.
Not this year, but
he couldn't win big games. I mean, he ended up turning into Bob Huggins, losing the second round every game. I mean, was it the same day UC was a 1 seed and up huge?
Xavier was a 1.
Yep,
that's what it was. Yeah, and they both lost on this. Like, both like, wow, man, that was fantastic for the city.
The Nashville Massacre. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I understand people getting antsy with Wes Miller. He's doing a great job recruiting. It's hard. I don't. Tim, what do you think? Cam, I'll ask you too. Do you guys think it's easier or harder to recruit now with NIL and with the transfer portal being so easy to move around?
It's much easier if your team's had success.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of where they're running into. So haven't been in the tournament since the year they lost in the first round after the Nashville Massacre. That's hard. I mean, that's just kind of what college basketball is. So yeah, NIL's there. This is there. More availability to programs, but also those programs who are reaping the benefits of that are the teams that you guys are lined up to play for the next month and a half.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's the competition you're going against for those kids. You look at Flory Badunga. I mean, everyone thought he was a surefire Bearcat for months, and then all of a sudden he wasn't even in their Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of, that's what UC's dealing with. It's just winning cures all is the biggest answer there.
Go ahead, Cam. What you got?
No, I agree as far as the recruiting and the NIL goes, especially in the portal, because guys are older and they want to go to a place to where they feel like they can win right away. And I will say it's easy to recruit, but also we have to just keep in mind, like I was warning people about this when basically all hell broke loose with recruiting, is that the rich is going to get richer.
Right.
Like, they have the money to pay these guys. Some of these guys come on campus and say, well, Alabama's offering me $150K. You got 200. Like, that's how the conversation is started. It's not play style. It's not what you did last year. It's about, okay, how much money you have for me. Well, you didn't match so-and-so, so I'm going to the next school. So that's what kind of makes it difficult. But as far as Wes Miller, like, I'm a Wes Miller's fan. Like, anybody know me, know I can be like very skeptical on coaches, but I really like Wes Miller. I like what he's doing. My thing is, I want, and I think what'll help us win some of these games, and what stuck out to me was last year against Houston. We were up like 17 or 19 points at one point at Houston.
Yeah.
And we let them make a huge run, cut it within 10 before we called a timeout. Like, and that was very concerning to me because I'm like, you're on the road. As soon as Houston cut that thing to about 13, I'm calling the timeout immediately. I'm getting the troops together because it seems like when UC's up in these games and they let these teams come back, it's like sometimes I do wish Wes had a little bit of Mick in him where he slows the game down and you kind of milk a possession and you get a good look because it seems like as the other team starts to catch up, we move even faster. Yeah. And that sometimes that doesn't equate to success, over a course of a game. But with better talent, you'll be able to see maybe, those runs be held off a little bit better. But it would remain to be seen. It's just, when you're going, you don't have much room for error in these games when you come up in the Big 12 because these teams will make you pay for every mistake. So it's just going to be interesting. But I do believe in Wes Miller. I think before a lot of that was talent. You just didn't have it. You just didn't have the bodies to trust to put in the game or to leave them out there for a long period of time. I think we do have eight solid 9 guys that you can try it out there. So hopefully, this year we can get some quad 1 wins because the whole schedule, conference play,
got all chances.
So if you don't get any of these, that means you had a horrible conference year. So let's hope we can get a couple.
Exactly. Now, one thing you said too about Wes slows it down. One thing that'll help, like it's maybe it gets better by the end of the year, but the experienced point guard. Jizzle James, freshman, Day Thomas, first year. He's a college junior transfer, right?
D2 transfer, yeah.
So first year in big Division I college basketball. So both those, and to me, those guys are the key, honestly, of how they develop and get control of the offense because one or both of them is going to be on the court at most times during the season. So that is, I think, a big key is how quickly they can get control of it and get players in the right position. Does that make sense to you guys?
It does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's one thing.
You probably don't want to have them on the court together at the same time.
You don't like that? No. I mean, you don't like that? I think that would be, I don't know, especially if
they're small dudes, man.
I know, but the thing is, I like the full court press, and they're fast, quick. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say it the whole time, but a couple times again. I know Wes has started to do it, but I don't know if Wes actually likes it or not.
They're still trying to figure out what the best rotation is, and some of the rotations are really curious. And I think it's more of him just throwing shit against the wall and seeing what's sticking right now. And that's hopefully. Well, I don't say hopefully. I mean, they're still not playing with the full deck again because I'm Bandega's going to be in and out for a while with his back, and Frederick's. Who knows when Frederick's going to be able to come back? Right. So that makes it even harder. Cause, I mean, that's your gunner right there. I mean, Frederick is such a good 3-point shooter, and with him unavailable, that limits you and limits this, what you're wanting to be able to do. Because Seamosh has been kind of hit or miss, more aggression than anything else. Some games he's really aggressive trying to find his shot. In other games, you kind of forget he's in there.
That's true.
They need a shot creator, man. That's like their biggest.
Yeah, well, that's Jizzle. I mean, I think it's Jizzle and Day. Those are the two that can do it. Who else do they have that can do it consistently? You think? Consistent. What I've seen is Jizzle. Honestly.
Yeah, that dude's awesome. He's so fun to watch play. From someone who's on the other side of the rivalry, he's a very fun part to watch play.
He plays like his dad played football. Just absolutely, just putting his head down and just. I mean, the last guy that absolutely just gets downhill that fast, getting to the rim. I don't know who the last guy UC had like that.
Let's get some of the comments here. Chris has a question. Says, this isn't related, but kind of. Is there a big divide between Bearcat fans and Xavier fans? I am going to get stand for asking this question. Go ahead, Tim. You want to answer that?
I've been on both sides of this, covering both teams. Yes. And it's one of the big reasons I don't keep Twitter on my phone anymore besides the Joey Votto anger debate after he did not get his option picked up. Like I said, so I covered both schools for years. Love both fan bases as far as like the passion, but oh boy, do I hate that rivalry every time. And it's the same conversation over and over again. Little sister seems to win a lot, don't they?
That's my boy Ed.
Yeah. Little sister has owned our ass for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
We'll kick your ass at football.
Yeah. Take us off.
Congrats. Line up 11-0. Way to go.
You have the ghost of Danny Abramowitz. Come on.
But yeah, it's super annoying, and I get it, but the whole like back and the argument at this point, it's the same thing over and over again. Yes, Xavier's in the suburbs of Norwood. The post office still says Cincinnati in that area. All right, let's just go ahead and knock that out of the way. Yes, Xavier's not been to a Final Four. I get it. Cincinnati has not been to one this century. All right, we move on. Same thing over and over again. We have the same fight over and over again until someone comes up with something crafty and creative in this whole thing. I don't care anymore.
Let me ask you this. To me, it was more, I don't know. I don't want to say it was less vitriol because, I mean, we know how much Bob Huggins loved Pete Gillen, but I think it's gotten worse and by tenfold since the brawl. What do you? I mean, I stopped talking to people that I just tangentially knew on social media when that happened. Like I just blocked them and edited just because then it got tiresome. Like you're not like I'm not going to change your opinion. You're not going to change my opinion.
Right.
Both schools, players on both sides. Everybody was to blame, and everyone on both sides were saying was, oh, it's the shit's on this guy or these guys acting like assholes. And I was a fan of Xavier until that point. Like I when I went to UC, I'd wear my Xavier hat around campus, and at that point, just because of it, I just stopped. Like I turned off being a Xavier fan just because I got tired of the argument.
And this is one thing. It's for me. I mean, Xavier fans
Xavier doesn't play anyone. They're in the second best basketball conference.
UConn just won the national championship. Who they play on Wednesday.
I'll go with this.
How many titles has Villanova won, and they just played them?
Right. Yeah. Like,
but I'll put. I think the end of there. He said it's always their Super Bowl. I mean, Xavier is always it's the biggest game for them, and that's
why isn't it for the Bearcats?
I don't know.
People in the UC program that stopped me and were like, they can't get up for this game.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, and that's the thing. I'm like, I like it's the biggest game for Xavier. It's the biggest game for their players. Yada yada yada.
But is it though? I mean, think about it.
They play like it. I mean,
so
they play with more urgency, but I don't know. But that's through multiple coaches, so I don't know.
Yeah, we're just talking about UConn won a national title. Villanova won twice in the last 15 years.
Ed wants to know who they played.
I just listed them. I mean, Creighton's pretty damn good, aren't they? Yeah, they're a top 25 team as well. So
Marquette's okay.
I'm sorry that we didn't have the luck of playing Eastern Carolina and Tulane every year. Okay, like.
Oh my goodness.
Tulsa. Yeah, Tulsa.
The Hurricanes, for some reason, a school named in the middle of Oklahoma is called Hurricane. I just thought that was hilarious.
Go ahead, Cam. What's your thoughts on the Xavier divide between your teams?
I mean, it's to the point where I don't get into the back and forth with UC Xavier. I'm a UC fan, obviously. You talk to a Xavier fan, you're not going to change their mind about anything. They're not going to change my mind about anything. So it's to the point where it's just like Tim said, man, it's like, okay, we got Final Fours. Okay, you don't. And it's the same thing. Or hang your NIT banners. It's just
right.
It's just repetitive, and so I don't really engage in it, but it's still intense, man. It's still intense, and I wish
it's
somehow, some way, UC can get up for these games, because it just seems like Xavier just wants it a bit more, and I can really say that UC had the better team this year. I said that from the start. I said they had the better team for the first time in probably about 6 or 7 years, and still didn't come. It seemed like every loose ball Xavier wanted, just seemed like they came out with a little bit more fight. So I mean, somehow, some way, we got to get up for it. But I don't get it back and forth with that because it's a mess.
Now,
It's the same thing over and over again.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
One thing I will say though, that as far as Bearcats getting up for the game, Mick Cronin could have cared less about this game. He was one that I heard wanted to get rid of the damn game. So Wes Miller, I think actually he's called it the best rivalry in college basketball. He says this is from a guy who played in Duke, North Carolina. You know, he could be just saying
wore uniform.
Coach. Yeah. Yeah, he wore the uniform. Anyway, he was at the damn games. Anyway, whatever. He's saying this is better than that rivalry. So Wes is very intense. Wes wants to win this. So I don't think it's a lack of intensity from him. I just don't know if the players have got it yet, which is kind of hard sometimes. Because it's not like back in the 90s, like, dude, it was on ESPN. It was a focal point. You know, now it's kind of shoved at the beginning of the season. And
Don't say what you're going to say here, Jeff. Don't go there.
You don't get as much publicity as it used to?
Don't say the whole, we don't, every year there's the hasn't lost its luster thing. Believe me.
No.
I'm in that arena every year.
No, I'm not saying
it has not lost its luster.
No. I'm saying for a national perspective. My point is for national perspective, for like kids that are coming in from the outside.
Because the schools have, I mean, Xavier's in a little bit of a down cycle, and UC's been in a down cycle for the past 5 or 6 years. But if both schools are top 20, top 15 schools, like frankly they should be. There's no reason those schools should not be top 25 schools, each one of us, each season. It'll be big national coverage again.
Yeah, look at Handshake Gate. That game was like not to the level of the brawl, but it was still pretty damn popular because both teams were, like we said, they ended up being 1 and 2 seeds.
Yeah. They'll never do this. It used to be it used to be played in February. It was like right in the middle of conference play, but they won't do that anymore because of conference play. It's too hard.
Yeah, those games are like the Kentucky-Kansas games.
Yeah, if you see Xavier if you see Xavier in the same division or same conference, then
we don't need that twice a year.
No, Jesus, City would burn.
Right, exactly. So, but one thing, me and Joe were talking about this off air, and it's about Wes and his recruiting. I love it. He's shooting a shot at trying to get the number one player in the conference or the country for next year. I don't know if he's going to get it. I'll be surprised if he does. But that's the thing I do like about what Wes has done is he's not afraid to take these shots. When Mick was here, Mick's just I can't get these guys. We'll play it here. What Mick would say. At least Wes is trying to get them, and who knows? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But that's the part that I like. I mean, Tim, what are you hearing about the shot of UC getting the? I don't know the guy's name, the number one recruit for next year.
I don't have that much intel on it by any means.
Right.
But yeah, you got to be impressed that they sent the offer. I mean, that's the whole point of it. Get the best talent you possibly can. No, Ed, they do not, because
Skyline's the best, baby.
Joe Farfsing also loves Gold Star, and he's a UC guy. So,
although I do have a Skyline Bengals cup right here.
Joe also doesn't like the Roses, so I mean that's why we don't let him in the West Side.
That's because I like real Italian, man.
he's a Wild Mike's guy though, so we can let it slide.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, all right. You just saved yourself there, Joe.
Yeah,
Tim just saved you. Thank God. Maybe I'll let you back over here again.
Saved by the guy from the Bluegrass State, man. That's dark day for the Seasider.
As far as chances, I mean, he's going to get an offer from everybody.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's what can they pitch to him that he's not going to get pitched from somebody else.
Right.
It's going to be kind of the downfall.
That's what I don't know. That's going to be the downfall for UC in general, as far as recruiting football, basketball is what can we offer that Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, North Carolina, these bigger schools, students can offer that we can. Against Texas.
Hey man, you go 28-5 one year. Those offers look a little better.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, if that happens. But I'm not talking about Texas is giving their offensive linemen brand new F-150 trucks. I mean, I don't know if UC can do.
Things are different down there. Things are different down there.
High school kids are being given F-150 trucks. They have $100 million high school football stadiums. Like that's a state with their priorities perfectly aligned with where they need to be.
And how dare you? LaRosa's is not overrated.
Yes. God. It's cardboard crust with sugary sweet sauce, man.
And it's delicious. Shut up.
Give me Dewey's 8 days a week.
Oh, God. Whatever. Oh, my goodness. All right. So.
Pizza Wars.
Pizza Wars. Been over 45 minutes. You guys are watching Sports Strawberry Ice. Check it out. Live streaming on ZTV, Cincinnati ZTV online. YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and Twitter. If you guys do me a favor, hit the likes, hit the shares, tell your friends about Sports Strawberry Ice. We're talking Bearcats. We could roll into some Reds conversation because we got baseball coming up here. I'm going to have some more Ashcraft's going to come on again. I got the Bengals, Reds third base coach JD House is going to come on. Hopefully Tommy Thrall. But where are you guys at on this Reds season? Like, who do you think will be the breakout player? We had so many last year. I guess who would be the one that's going to be the most consistent of the stars that came last year, or even better, however you want to put it? Tim, what do you got?
If only I did a show on this last night. Oh, I did. Oh, okay, great.
There you go.
I know it's
Hey, great minds think alike, Tim.
It's not necessarily breakout because of how good he was last year, but to me, it's still Matt McClain. I think he is the best of the group. I think he has the highest floor of the group, where Ellie De La Cruz definitely has the highest ceiling. The talent level, the consistency. Like, what was a Matt McClain slump last year? Oh, 3 games, he went 0-10 and had a walk.
Yeah.
So you can live with that during a 162 game season. I just think that his talent level, I think it sounds like he's recovered from his little injury he had at the end of the year last year. And they're pretty excited about what they have with him. I think he's just I think he has the possibility to be a multi-time All-Star, and he's a good enough defender to be a Gold Glove winner. And this just got to come together. Could he be like the regression guy because of how good he was last year? Probably. But I feel like he's the safest bet of everybody.
So what show did you do last night? So once you guys get done watching this, you can go listen to Tim's show.
Oh, just hung out at the Riverfront Red show with Nate Dodson.
There you go.
He's like Joe. They don't have any hair, but they're fun dudes.
Hey, another guy who's been on my show. Well, Nate's only been on once. He finally was able to come on. But yeah, so I guess you're gonna hopefully I don't have the same thing. Anyway, we'll just keep going here. Go ahead, Joe. What do you think your breakout player for the Reds this year?
I mean, McClain's a good one. He was almost on the 30-30 pace for his 89 games that he played last year. I'm gonna go with Marte. He's still rookie eligible.
Yep.
Ended the year on a 16-game hitting streak. He just hits line drives everywhere. And the one thing he said, the first thing he said he wanted to work on, which is launch angle, which if he can fix that, with as hard as he hits the ball, his exit velocities and his 90th percentile exit velocities, if he can actually hit the ball in the air, he's a 30-40 home run guy. I just think I've been saying it for a long time. Tim's probably tired of hearing me say this. I swear to God, I think he's Manny Machado with his defensive ability. He's got an absolute cannon. He's got the ability to be a Gold Glove caliber third baseman, and I think has the ability to be that good of a hitter.
He's quite a gift coming from like the third baseman they've had for the last 12 years. The Todd Fraziers, who I love Todd Frazier, but was not a good defensive player.
Right.
And then the Suarez's, and it's a nice difference.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is when we signed John Candelaria, I heard some people out there going, well, maybe they'll trade Marte, or maybe they'll move him. I'm like, they better not move him off third base. He's, like I said, I've said this before too. He's a Gold Glove third baseman. He's going to win. I predicted, put your money down, he's going to be the 2024 Rookie of the Year. So yeah, I with Joe on this. To me, he's the guy that's going to be even better because he was on a let-off. Was it 15-game hitting streak at the end of the year? 16-game hitting streak. So that still rolls over. So, Cam, who you got for your breakout for the Cincinnati Reds this year?
Marte was a good one. That's what I was thinking about. But I'm gonna go someone that's been here for a while. I think Hunter Green. I think it's this year that finally puts it all together. And
we need him to be.
And I just think like sometimes we pick apart his starts, and sometimes he does have bad starts. Don't get me wrong, but there was the stretch there where he put together some very good starts on his way back. Coming back from injury, where you're seeing him pitch, 6-7+ innings, 12 Ks, that type of thing. And if he could just put it all together and stay away from the blow up inning where, maybe he has 2 outs and then a walk here, error there, and then all of a sudden a bomb happens. And that's what normally happens to Hunter Green. It's like one maybe bad call or pitch clock violation, and all of a sudden it's a bomb here and a bomb there. If he can hone in that mental aspect of, shaking off that last batter and moving on forward, I think you can have an ace quality pitcher. I still have high hopes for Hunter Green. I think this is the year he puts it all together.
I think if he can stay healthy and if he can toe the bump 30 games this year, I think he's absolutely going to take a step along the top, quartile, top quartile percent, whatever the hell, like one of the better pitchers in the National League if he can stay healthy. I think that's the only thing that's kept his consistency down is he just hasn't consistently been able to be on the mound for various injuries, and that's been the problem of all the Reds' young pitchers for that matter.
Yeah, and I love Camp's point about he is a guy that the second baseman misses a ball, goes between his legs, it rolls into center field. He lets that get to him. And I think that's kind of what leads to these like 4, 5, 6 run outs and outings. So I think that's a great thing to point out that no one really talks about. Just like, oh yeah, he just gives up homers all the time. It's like, well, what was the situation? So once he does hone that in, and like Joe said, like, if he's an inning eater, I made the joke last night, FanDuel every start, he's probably got his over under is probably 7.5 strikeouts. So
that would be a bad bet. For me, I'll put it this way. All right. The key to the season is the same key to last year. Well, my key to last year's season was this team was going to go how our top 3 stars at the time, which was Hunter Green, Lodolo, and Ashcraft. I said those 3, how those 3 go is how the season's going to go, which they got injured. This year, we have 4 of them. If they can stay healthy, and with the young guys we got, if they stay healthy, Green, Ashcraft, Lodolo, and Abbott, if those guys stay healthy and get 100, 150 innings, 200 innings is nobody's doing that anymore. I think even the Reds pitch coach on the Reds Hot Stove League said that the other night that's probably not going to happen. This will be few and far between. You're going to see a starter make 200 innings now. But these guys can get up to close to 100 to 150 innings and be consistent on this. That could be that's what the Reds need. And Joe, you me talked about this. Tim said you don't want Tim Daniel. Tim. Who's the other Tim on your guys? Anyway, I can't think of his name.
We have another Tim?
Nate. Jeez, I get it
Nate.
right.
Okay, I'm like,
Nate. All right, Nate.
It's like news to me.
No, Nate. Dobson.
You're a doppelganger. Like it's Jeff Carr who's taking your name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm a bitch.
It's still my name. But Nate was saying, that hopes aren't something that you put a season on.
Oh, that's Chad line is hope. No, crap, I'm totally spacing on it.
Yes, that's what I was doing.
It's not a strategy, something like
Hope
that.
was not a strategy.
Hope was not a strategy. It's not a strategy. And I agree with that, but that's kind of some of what the Reds are doing because they haven't gone out and got number 1 starter yet. But if the hope works out, you had these guys here for a reason. This year, next year, you got to figure out if they're going to be the 4 guys in rotation for your future or not. If that works out this year, this could be a really good year for Cincinnati Reds. But that's a big hope. I mean, where are you guys at on the developing of the 4 starters, the Ashcraft, Lodolo, Abbott?
I feel good about it, honestly, because the biggest thing is the biggest thing that's got in the way of those guys is the fact that they haven't been able to take the ball every 5 days.
Right.
So if you get a situation where they can take the ball every 5 days, they're going to learn what they've done. Like they're going to learn from the mistakes they made and the things they've thrived on. They're going to continue to improve. So if they're on the mound and then everything changes and, they're not going to have another 2012 season where every starter makes their start. That's just impossible.
I don't know in history how many times that actually happened. That's the first time I ever remember for a Reds.
I don't know if the Smoltz, Maddox, Glavine era Braves did that. That was unbelievable.
That's nobody having to miss a start with a blister or even something that keeps them out for 1 to start.
Yeah. Falling down the stairs or getting sick or whatever. Nobody missed a start that year. I was like, I never ever remember seeing
break your wrist washing your truck. Oh wait a minute, he was was it dirtbag racing? Is that what Jeff Kent was doing?
It was dirtbag.
Who was the Angels pitcher that got injured playing Guitar Hero?
Oh,
Joel Zumaya when he was in Detroit.
Yeah.
Mike Matheny cut his hand trying to open up a DVD or a CD or something like that using the knife.
Well, Trevor Bauer, he was with the Indians.
He must not be named.
The drone, with the drone.
Yeah, he cut his finger with thumb with the drone, and he was bleeding all over the baseball.
Wade Boggs threw his back out sneezing, which as someone who sneezes very violently, my wife will attest and has no idea why the hell that's a thing, why men have to sneeze so loud. Threw his back out and had to go on the DL because he sneezed. He threw sneezing. So
I've thrown my back out picking up a basket of laundry before. So
yeah,
man.
That happens when you get old. But yeah, but get back to the pitching staff. That's the hope that gets me the most excited about this. Like you just said with the Atlanta Braves and Smoltz, Glavine, Avery, those guys. I've not comparing these guys to that, but that's where I think these guys' talent level can be. I don't know if they're going to get there or not. That's what has got me excited last year about finding out what these guys can do. And that gets me excited about this year if they could potentially even come close to that. We got a good run on us.
So let me ask you guys this. So Fangraphs, and they constantly update their projections and everything. And I think this is off of Steamer. The Reds are projected, starting rotation is supposed to be the 5th most productive. They also had the Reds projected as the 25th best team, which means that they have zero faith. And projection systems are notoriously cynical and notoriously conservative when it comes to young players, which, fine, whatever. They haven't released their actual projections for the Reds individual team players, but how bad are they expecting the offense? It's very conservative when it comes to young players for projection systems because of the lack of track record. I don't get it. They're projected to be 4th in the division ahead of only Pittsburgh. It's weird, both of them, because I think the Reds pitching staff is not the 5th best in baseball. I think if somebody steps forward and they have the depth to withstand an injury or performance, but I don't know, where do you guys think that this team is in terms of pitching and in terms of this team overall?
Go ahead, Tim.
I don't know. Honestly, I think that there's, the thing about this team where they're at is you can see how great it can be and you can see how bad it could be, right? Mm-hmm. Because it is such a group of young guys. Chances are not all 5-6 batters that we've talked about are going to flourish, right? Like, that's impossible just about. If it happens, then yeah, print the World Series tickets, or I guess the QR codes these days.
Right, exactly.
But I think that I feel comfortable where they are. I do wish that they had went out and gotten a Shane Bieber or any of those guys, those top tier number 1 guys. But how can you compete with the Dodgers and what they're putting out for guys right now?
You can't.
And so, but hitting wise, McLean seems like all the promise in the world. Spencer Steer as a hitter feels very promising. Strand, I'm still trying to figure out what he's going to be. Yes, you see him, you're like 45 home run guy.
Yeah.
What's the likelihood that's for sure going to happen?
Or is he going to be Chris Davis to where there are 45 empty home runs? Or is it going to be Pete Alonso, who's
productive and putting up that many home runs? Exactly. And I'm just as high as you are, Joe Noelvi Marte. I think I also, Jeff, agree. He's going to get my money for Rookie of the Year. But it's after that, what's Jonathan India's role for this team and why is he still on the big league roster?
Joe loves Jonathan India.
I do too.
He's being facetious, but I don't dislike him. It's more of just it's a matter of fit.
What purpose does he serve on the current?
Right. Well, I don't disagree with you on that. I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I don't disagree with him. I don't want to see him in the outfield. First, to me, it's either he plays first base or some second. But that brings me to my other point that I think is going to be interesting how they figure this out. Who plays? And I'll put it right field. And I've said this multiple times on here. It's not going to happen. I'd say move Ellie out there to center field. He can move people around that way. That's not going to happen.
That's hard to do, man.
Yeah. But what I've heard is CES or India. I almost would rather have CES out there and see what the hell he can do. But from somebody that was down in Louisville and saw them play, I think I've heard you say this before on other shows, he wasn't very good out there.
I've heard that from people, is what I said in that conversation. So I talked to some people down there.
I'm sitting there talking that in my head and going, oh, yeah, actually, Tim said that. So
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So I've talked to some people down there. They said, and I asked about, they've played him here, they played him here, they played him here. And they're like, yeah, everywhere he's played defensively, it's been pretty questionable. So I felt like first base was probably the safest bet for him. So you mentioned right field. I mean, right now it looks like it's Will Benson every day. And I love Will Benson, huge Will Benson guy, but we know he had 2 hits last year.
Is he going to be every day?
I don't. Right now, that's what it looks like. Yeah, if that's the game plan going into April,
right?
We got props.
Yeah.
What's Jose Barrero going to be on this big league roster because he's out of options? If anything, I agree. Absolutely nothing. Just
he'll be out. Like he'll be released somewhere in the middle of spring.
Just luscious lettuce. Luscious lettuce running out there on the diamond every day. I don't feel like you can put stock in him. I don't think Teoscar Hernandez is going to be coming to Cincinnati anytime soon, unfortunately, as much as I really wanted it. But I do That's a great question because, what's Jake Fraley's role?
Mm-hmm.
Because left-handed
That'd be great
outfielders.
if one of them was right-handed. That would be awesome. That'd be a perfect David Bell platoon.
So I've got a, I don't say hot take because I hate that shit, but I'm gonna say either Blake Dunn or Reese Hines at some point before May.
All the Blake Dunn.
What's that?
Give me all the Blake Dunn. I'm in.
Yeah. The only thing, like he played half the season at AA, but he's still taking it at AAA. One of those two guys will be up to play right field as a right-handed hitter. Jake Fraley or Will Benson, probably Fraley, is probably going to be.
Your left-handed DH guy, yeah.
Or jettisoned. I mean, they have.
Well, I think they got it. Don't they still? I still think they. I know Cross said they're pretty much done. Me and Joe talked about this yesterday. I don't totally believe that. I mean, you have too many players.
Nor should you.
Yeah,
Nor should you.
And like Joe said, and I agree, it doesn't fit the parts. You can make it fit, but it doesn't fit right. And you have assets to go get somebody else.
Yeah,
and make it fit. That's not right.
And I think he's saying that to temper expectations for the fan base, and also try to buy himself leverage. I mean, they lost all leverage they had trying to deal India. They knew that he's coming off a bad injury, 2 straight injury plagued seasons, and he's the odd man out because he's just not good enough or versatile enough or a good enough defender. So I think he's trying to recoup some leverage in any sort of negotiations to trade.
Exactly. Well, we're really getting into the Reds conversation. I want to keep this going, but I can't. I got to get the heck out of here. I got to go take my beautiful wife to our 27th anniversary dinner.
Happy anniversary, brother.
Happy anniversary, buddy.
Thank you very much. So, Tim, plug some stuff before I let you go. Tell me about your show that you already talked about, the Red stuff that we already talked about. You can listen to it again.
All right, yeah. Please check us out on the Riverfront. Joe's on there as well, holding our Bengals content down. I am the host on our Sunday night live show of Late Night Reds. I
want to get on that show still. I said,
yeah, I thought about that today. I was like, I need to shoot you a text and make that happen. Check me out on Riverfront U, where I'm doing our Xavier coverage, and NBA Friday, just our fun show where nerds like me who just love talking to professional basketball need to have somewhere to go. So yeah, all my stuff's over at the Riverfront, basically, except for my Bulls coverage, but you don't want to see that. They're terrible.
Can you do an ABA Friday so we can talk about the Kentucky Colonels or the Virginia Squires?
I would love that. Would love that.
Or what's the Will Ferrell movie with the Flint Tropics?
God, what the hell is that called? Semi-Pro.
Yes, Semi-Pro.
I've actually never seen that all the way through, but that's
an underrated movie. If you're a Will Ferrell fan, that's
I'm not a Will Ferrell fan. I like Will Ferrell better than I like Will Ferrell movies. We'll put it that way.
It's funny. I like Will Ferrell movies better than I liked him on Saturday Night Live.
I hated that. I was in high school and I thought that I never watched Saturday Night Live at that point, and I thought it was just awful stuff. Now he was in an awesome show on Apple.
With Paul Rudd.
And I can't remember The Shrink Next Door, and that was a fantastic show. It was serious. It was it was kind of funny, but it was by and large a serious role, both of them, and he was great in it. So he has acting chops. It's just he likes to play silly roles like Jim Carrey did for too long, and Adam Sandler has never stopped doing.
Yeah, but his bank account is really rewarded from it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Joe, you want to plug anything? I mean, Tim already plugged it for you. You want to plug anything else before I let you go?
Tim did the heavy lifting.
All right, get the hell out of here.
You guys should be watching my show. I'm lagging way far behind the Red shows. So just click play, and you don't even have to watch me. Just click play, click the like button, put it in the background. I do it myself just to add another view to my things, just so they don't kick me off the channel.
Oh shoot, you guys are getting close to 1,000 subs. Joe was telling me you guys are
not too far off, man.
We're almost big boys.
Ooh, yeah, but you guys are killing. Like your red shows are killing. You guys get way more views than I am. That's awesome.
Thanks, buddy. We try.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So anyway, thanks for coming on.
It's because Nate's a handsome man.
He is a very handsome man. Even though I tried to call him Tim earlier, he probably Anyway, guys, appreciate you guys. We'll have to do this again.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, guys, see ya. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Go check out the boys on the Riverfront. They do a great job. They got multiple shows, like I said, Bagel Show, Late Night Reds. He's got the U. If you want to talk NBA basketball, which, like I said, back in the day, I was a huge NBA basketball fan. I'm trying to get back into it a little bit, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, check me out. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. Like I said, I am live streaming. This is the first time we actually live stream straight to ZTV online, ZT Cincinnati. And we will be giving away a Bearcat basketball package here. Hopefully we'll get that put together, and I'll starting to shoot some Twitter stuff, some Facebook stuff about it next week. What you're going to have to do is you have to go to ZTV Online, register there, subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And it's got Bearcats tickets in it. I think it's got maybe a hat, maybe a shirt or something like that. So, and I think it's for the TCU game. So make sure you guys go check that out. YouTubers, you guys are awesome. I'm at 2,459. If you're watching on Facebook, please hit those thumbs up, subscribe, share this video out. Try to get as many people to watch it and subscribe to my channel as you can. Rumble. Again, I've been on this, I think, the 4th or 5th show I've done on Rumble. So hit those thumbs up. You guys can comment from Rumble. I haven't seen anybody comment from Rumble yet. So, and Twitter X, you guys are also always awesome there. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. You can follow me on all these social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. Also on Sports Strawberry Ice. I'll be pulling the podcast sound off later until I put it on the podcast. It'll be on BeanPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Leave a 5-star review and a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. I did put up yesterday's show on the podcast. I did it late because, like I said, with the Christmas and New Year's, I've kind of was hit or miss during, and I get the new studio, get things set up. So I was kind of hit or miss here the last 2 weeks, but I will be back every day at 5:30. So make sure you are subscribed. And like I said, if you're subscribed, if I go earlier or I do an emergency podcast or something like that, the subscription button on YouTube will tell you that I'm going live. So make sure you guys check that out. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Monday. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!